As much as it might shock my younger viewers, Michael Bay didn't always used to be, well, Michael Bay. Back in the 90s, he directed The Rock, pairing Sean Connery with Nicolas Cage and creating one of my favourite action films of all time. He also directed Armageddon, and anyone that doesn't well up at the end of that film, I'm pretty sure you're allowed to execute as a robot attempting to infiltrate and destroy humanity. I mean, I'm not saying he was ever going to trouble Spielberg in the quality department, but he was a fairly solid director who was carving out a fairly solid name for himself. Unfortunately, following whatever the hell he was trying to do with Pearl Harbor, he seems to have sat back, taken a long, cool look at Hollywood, and decided that the best way to make more money than God is by gathering up 80s cartoons with some serious nostalgia value, then getting a horny 12-year-old on a sugar rush to write what I'll be charitable and call a script. The rest is cinematic history. At time of writing, the Transformers franchise is the 11th highest grossing film series of all time, with a total taking of $3.7 billion. Two films in the series have individually grossed over $1 billion. So I wasn't exactly expecting Shakespeare when I went into my local multiplex. I did, however, come out with a screaming headache and a desire to rethink my life choices. I mean, where to begin? Well, it turns out that ever since the time of King Arthur, who was apparently real, Transformers have secretly helped humanity, including fighting alongside Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass and Harriet Bumblebee amongst others, with Bumblebee even working behind the lines in World War II at a scene that was actually filmed at Winston Churchill's family home and went down really well on this side of the pond. And there's also a secret organisation dedicated to hiding the true history of Earth, whose sole surviving member is Sir Hannibal Lecter, who I would say has some of the most appalling dialogue I've ever heard, had I not sat through the rest of the film. Yeah, the dialogue is still almost as cringe-inducing as you would expect, although they seem to tone down the racism slightly, but then they sexualise an explicitly 14-year-old character. I mean, it is done by someone of her own age, but even so, it's a really bad foot for the film to start from. But leaving aside the awful dialogue, terribly written characters with no right or reason to exist, say about a third of them, and whatever Transformers lore they've screwed up big time. I mean, I was never that big a fan of the TV show, but I reckon The Big Twist is going to seriously hack off some Transformers fans. So, what does that leave us with? It's all shot during a permanent sunset, as per usual Bay, and the action. My god, the action. The fight scenes are really badly shot and edited, so I have no idea who was doing what to whom, and I don't even know how much damage Transformers can give or take, what their abilities are, and there's about 1 million plot holes to be dealing with. Some of my favourite: Oxford is apparently a 2-minute drive from central London instead of about 70 minutes away depending on traffic. You can just waltz up to 10 Downing Street without being shot or called a pleb, and you can drive around London at a faster pace than a snail with a stitch. Actually, I feel really bad for saying the phrase plot holes, as that implies that there is a plot, because there are actually 3 plots in this film. Well, there's enough plot for 3 films in this film, but the film doesn't know what to do with any of them. Optimus Prime turns evil, there's a giant planet asteroid thing approaching the Earth destined to destroy us, and Mark Wahlberg is doing his best Mummy Returns bit, but none of them come to anything, none of them mean anything. It is just horrifically awful dialogue, followed by action, followed by horrifically awful dialogue, followed by action, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. It's too long. It is way too long by about 149 minutes, but probably they could have removed about 20 of those minutes just by getting rid of the slow motion. Seriously, Bay, it is not 1999 anymore. Slow motion impresses exactly no one. It's so loud, I swear to God, that my screen was actually shaking, and so was my chair. And I did actually leave with a headache, meaning that I am probably, if not definitely, too old for this kind of thing. Summing up, it's exactly the same as every other Transformers film. It's loud, incoherent, full of terribly sexist and racist dialogue. There are too many humans and not enough robots. I was overwhelmed by the action, but at the same time completely bored stiff. But you guys can fix this. You guys are changing cinema. You guys got rid of King Arthur Legend of the Board, Baywatch and Chips by staying home. Or wait a few days and go and see Baby Driver if you're old enough. Otherwise, me and all my fellow critics are going to have to sit through the spin-offs, prequels and sequels that are being threatened with until we either go mad and stop disappointing our parents by getting proper jobs. Please guys, you can do this. Viva la good film revolution, because this film is fire. Do not see this film under any circumstances. If you want a film where a large ball of evil approaches the Earth, The Fifth Element hasn't gone anywhere. If you want a film where a man with a magic armband has to save the world, then The Mummy Returns hasn't. There is nothing to see here, guys. Nothing good, nothing interesting, nothing memorable. I'm actually out of breath. But what do you guys think? And who would win in a fight between a Transformer and a Jaeger from Pacific Rim? or any other big robot? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, this has been A Dunking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe.